Okay, so when we observe, we notice something. You might smell something. You might see or hear something. You might taste something. You might touch something. And an observation is just information from your senses. That's all it is. Okay, so now we're talking a little bit about data. And data, you said, is just information. That's all it is. It's scientific information. So what kind of information were you able to gather from watching me this morning? That there were objects that I was handling. Did it look like I was struggling to pick them up? Did they look like they were super heavy? Okay. I was lifting them pretty easily. Was I able to scratch the surface of any of them? Were they soft? Okay. You know, so you can observe all those things. Were they flammable? Could you observe whether or not they were flammable? Yeah. We don't know about, some of them I didn't attempt to light on fire, so we don't know. Okay, now, there are two big kinds of information. And we're going to first talk a little bit about quantitative data. So, if you look back on your vocabulary sheet, do you see the word quantify? Ah, why do you know that? What's quantify mean? To put a number to it. So if I say, I have a small class this period, it's describing the class. If I say I have 11 students in this room, I have quantified that information. So quantitative data is information that has numbers. Information with numbers. So let's imagine our little studies that we were talking about. So we did carrots and eyesight, we did shaving and your hair growing back, we did coffee stunting your growth. Did somebody do that in here? Okay. So let's take the coffee stunting your growth because I love my coffee. What kinds of quantitative information could we put together when we're talking about coffee stunting your growth? How much coffee? We could talk about how many ounces of coffee, how many cups of coffee. We quantify that number. 3 6-ounce cups of coffee. What other quantitative information could we get out of this? How many participants in our study? How many kids are we measuring? What else? Okay. Their height. And also, so we've got their height at the beginning and their height at the end. What other number can we get out of that? How long we studied them, how long it took. We can look at how much they grew. We can look at averages. We can look at, we can look at a bunch of things. Those are all kinds of quantitative data. We like getting quantitative data in science. It makes it really easy to compare. If one kid grew 6 inches and one kid grew a half an inch, that's easy to compare. If we say, that kid really shot up, he got a lot taller, and this kid didn't really grow. It's hard to compare. So we want good, solid numbers. We want information with numbers as often as possible, quantitative data. So if I told you, over the weekend I got to spend time with some old friends, and one of them I hadn't seen in a long time, and I was so happy because I forgot all of her wonderful qualities. What am I saying? How awesome she is. Yeah, she's funny, and she's kind, and she's just a really nice person. I missed her. What are her qualities, though? I just named 2 of them. Yeah, funny was one of her qualities. What else? Kind. Those are ways of describing her. I could also say she has brown hair, she's short. Those are her qualities. Qualities are things that we can describe about someone. So qualitative data, it's descriptive. Yeah. So when we say the one kid grew a lot, that's descriptive. When I say I have a small class, that's descriptive. Descriptive data, I can't spell. A lot of times in like medical studies, so there are lots of studies of drugs. Think about studies of drugs for depression. If you have a group of people come in and you ask them every day that they come into the office to be part of this research study, do you feel depressed today? Yes or no? What kind of data are you getting?
Descriptive.
Yeah. Now, you can make some numeric data out of that. 47% of participants reported feeling depressed at least one day throughout the study. Now, what if you have those same people come in and you give them a little piece of paper that says, how would you rate your depression on a scale of 0 to 10? You're attaching more numbers to it. Now, you can still describe, but qualitative data is useful. Quantitative data we prefer. Okay. Qualitative describes, quantitative counts. If I went out to the pond with a jar and I got some water from the pond, you probably wouldn't be able to see straight through it, right? It would have, well, that greenish brown stuff in it. So there would be some dirt, there would be mud, clay, and there would be lots of those little specks of algae. If I say the pond has lots of algae, what kind of observation is that?
There's a ton.
Pardon? Well, qualitative or quantitative?
Qualitative.
Qualitative. Qualitative. It's descriptive. There's lots of algae in the pond. What if I take a little tiny bit of this and I actually go into a lab and I count the number of algae in a milliliter of water? That's quantitative. People actually do that. Okay. You're going to have a short online quiz. Let me stop this recording.